To begin things off for today, I know there's some people who are going to view my preview video as today's beginning, or the new trailer I put on the channel as the new beginning. Been a long time since I did a trailer for the channel, and I decided last night while I was waiting for the preview video to upload, I'm like, fine, I have time. Don't know if I'm happy with it, but it's done, and at least it's updated because the last one I did was February of last year. Sad. Okay, I don't talk a lot about injuries, and this is kind of why. There's a lot of injuries. Situations are fluid. I may talk about somebody being hurt who may end up in the lineup as soon as tonight. I may talk about people who, there are also teams that I may not talk much about, or there may be players I don't touch on because it's seen as day to day. Anyways, so trying to look at which teams are hobbled the most by injuries right now. It's remarkable that Anaheim's got the 5 wins in a row while Fowler's out. Cam Fowler was having a decent year for them. Corey Perry, of course, is still out. And Patrick Eaves, absolutely horrible luck for him when it comes to injuries and ailments. And hopefully he's 100% soon. Michael Grabner is listed on Arizona as day-to-day. I don't know, looking at that eye, I don't know if that's day-to-day or not. Jason Demers, of course, could be out for the year with his knee. Christian Dvorak with his chest, and Jason Chaykas come out today, or John Chaykas come out today and said they may carry 3 goalies. So once they got Kemper and Ronta and everybody's healthy, and I don't have them listed because they're both listed as day to day. Once everybody's healthy, they may carry 3. It doesn't work. Move one or send one to the minors. Just it doesn't work. Carrying 3 goaltenders doesn't work. Look how long Carolina did it before Darling got waived. You can't do it. It doesn't work. Boston, Kevin Miller's out with his knee, or his neck. Zdeno Chara with his knee. Patrice Bergeron, clavicle. Eero Vakanainen is listed as day-to-day, but it's a concussion, and Charlie McAvoy with a concussion. So that's 4 blue liners. Vakanainen wasn't supposed to be up anyways, but the other 3 are supposed to be major parts of this blue line. And that's a lot for Boston to be losing. And, of course, today they claimed Jamel Smith from the Dallas Stars. Yes. If he's going to go anywhere, go to Boston. Perfect, fantastic. Boston will use him, and hopefully he does as well for Boston as I get the feeling he might. On the Buffalo side, Jake McCabe is out with an upper body injury. Jason Pominville is out with an undisclosed injury. And Marco Scandella with an upper body injury. So Buffalo, not too bad for injuries, but notable in that 2 of them are blue liners. In Calgary, you've got Juuso Valimaki, lower body injury. Michael Stone is undisclosed. Michael Frolik, lower body injury. So again, for the Flames, not crippling. For Carolina, Michael Furland is day-to-day, but it's a concussion. And even if I saw day-to-day on the list, if I saw concussion, I'm putting it up here because that can go on for a while. Jordan Staal is out with an upper body injury. On the Hawks, Connor Murphy's got a back problem. Brandon Davidson is out with a knee. And again, it's not crippling there. And again, they're both day-to-day injuries for Colorado, but Connor Timmins' head injury, they're listed as day-to-day, but we'll see. I think there's some teams that if they don't have to put somebody on injured reserve, they don't bother. And I think that's to keep the opposition off their game a little bit, like, well, maybe they'll play kind of thing, or just because they don't feel like tipping their hand to anybody. No injuries to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Dallas, John Klingberg out with his hand, Connor Carrick with his foot, Martin Hansel with his back. He's rumored to be back pretty quick, though. Mark Mathot, lower body injury, and Stephen Johns, head injury. I would also put Nichushkin's offense on the injured list because there just hasn't been any. Remember, he was coming back, and everybody said, oh, it was Lindy Ruff's fault he wasn't producing. No. It's one of those things that makes me mad when I see a coach drop a skilled player down in the lineup for good reason, and then fans say, well, he's a skilled player. He should automatically get ice time, which I saw with Nichushkin his last year in the NHL, and my answer to that was he doesn't deserve it. But anyways, I digress. Detroit, Danny DeKeyser, of course, out with a hand injury. Same for Anthony Mantha. Darren Helm's shoulder, and Evgeny Svechnikov has yet to play due to a knee injury. So that's not a list for Detroit that's minor. And again, I'm trying to figure out which team's most hobbled by injury. Right now, Boston would be my leader out of this column, although Dallas is a close second. What is it with teams I cheer for and injuries? Edmonton, Tobias Reeder, upper body injury. He's supposed to be back pretty quick, though. Of course, Andre Sekera and his Achilles. When I see Achilles, that's terrifying. Florida, Vinny Trocheck, ankle. Derek McKenzie, shoulder. And Jamie McKinn back. Interesting thing for me is Trocheck shows us day-to-day, week-to-week kind of thing. Or I think it's just day-to-day. And some of them I see as day-to-day, and I'm thinking, really? Is this just like they're going to reevaluate them? Or they actually think, yeah, they could be back in less than a week? Or is this just that's what they're stuck on and they don't worry about it? LA, Ilya Kovalchuk, ankle. Trevor Lewis, foot. Carl Hagelin, knee. Jack Campbell, knee. Jack Campbell's due to be back either this week, coming up, or towards the end of the month, according to the timeline that I was looking at on Roto World. So use Roto World for this data. No injuries to the Wild. Montreal, Noah Juleson, face. It's one of those things you look at and you go, ow. Sort of like Cam Fowler, right? Joel Armia, knee injury. He's due back soon. Nashville, Philip Forsberg, upper body injury. Kyle Turris, it's still undisclosed for him. PK Subban, upper body injury. Victor Arvidsson, upper body injury. Yes, Nashville is dealing with 4 pretty major names that are out. I would say that puts them probably ahead of Boston in terms of misery with injury, and of course ahead of Dallas. So yeah, Nashville would be the leader right now. But Nashville has a ton of depth. The fact that Eeli Tolvanen comes in and scores two points in his first game in the NHL this season shows that the depth is there in the Nashville organization. There's tons of it. Joey Anderson's out with an ankle injury for New Jersey. Andrew Ladd has a lower body injury for the New York Islanders. And in Islanders news, Ilya Sorokin, it's been announced by his agent, will fulfill his full contract in the KHL, which runs to the end of the 1920 season. So he won't be over to the NHL until the 2020-2021 season, which we know could be a lockout. So we'll see what happens with that one. The Rangers... Adam McQuaid, lower body injury. Vlad Nemestikov has a concussion. He's shown his day-to-day, but since it's a concussion, I don't trust that. Matt Zuccarello, groin injury, and he's been out of the lineup for most of the last month with it. And when he was in the lineup, he didn't look 100% correct, 100% right. Pavel Buchnevich is out with a thumb injury. Ottawa, Maxime Lajoie, and it's undisclosed. It's considered kind of day-to-day, but since we're going on a week of him missing games, I thought I'd throw it up here. Jean-Gabriel Pageau, of course, with his Achilles. Marian Gaborik, back injury. I'm wondering at what point does Marian Gaborik hit the list with guys that you're going to notice aren't up here, like Johan Franzen, Henrik Zetterberg, Nathan Horton. Or we're going to say, yeah, he's probably never going to play again, but due to cap reasons, he'll still show on the injured list. Philly, Brian Elliott, lower body injury. And Samuel Morin, who hasn't played yet this year for a knee injury. Pittsburgh, Matt Murray, lower body. Matt Cullen, lower body. Justin Schultz with a leg injury. And on hockey news, Jake Gensel says that after watching what William Nylander went through, and he's paid close attention. Remember, Gensel's got 22 points this year, and I think it's 26 games. He's having a very good season, and he's saying, based on what Nylander got for sitting out, there are other players who may very well sit out next year. This may be a precedent that's been set. If you sit out, that's fine. You're going to get paid big time. So other guys won't be as afraid of sitting out as they might have been previous years. Remember, last year and this year I mentioned how usually restricted free agents will just sign before camp, whether it means a bridge contract or probably taking less money than what they wanted. Seeing Nylander stick to his guns and not... He didn't get the $8 million cap hit, but my God, he made a lot of money. Other guys are going to look at that and say, you know what, we can do that too. So... stay tuned. Next summer could be really tumultuous. No injuries for the San Jose Sharks right now on St. Louis. Alex Pietrangelo with a hand injury. Gunnarsson upper body injury. Fabry with a shoulder. They're all listed as day-to-day. Steen with a concussion. Jaden Schwartz upper body injury. Every single one of these is listed as day-to-day. So I put them all up here because I know they're not all going to be day-to-day. And seeing Fabry on the list again is just, it's heartbreaking to me. Because he's a good kid, but man, injuries just derail him at every turn. Tampa, Andrei Vasilevsky, foot. He's said to be about 3 weeks out. Anton Strawman, upper body injury. Toronto, no injuries. So this is the other thing for Toronto. They got all these weapons. Everything's great, and they have no injuries. It's a good life right now if you're a Leafs fan and enjoy it. Vancouver, Brandon Sutter out with a shoulder. Sven Berchi out with a concussion. Of course, Sutter being out's why Horvat's taking every face-off. And Gagne, it's funny. Gagne being shopped. This was an article today, and I'm like, oh, okay. Sam Gagne's on. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when Mike Gillis put out there, he wants GMs to know Chris Higgins is available when Higgins wasn't having a good season and was getting waived. Yeah, we know he's available. So Jim Benning's kind of doing that now with Gagne. Oh, it wasn't Benning that did it with Higgins, was it? Okay, it may have been Benning that did it with Higgins. Anyways, yeah, Gagne's being shopped. You don't say. And I feel bad for Sam Gagne. He's got squeezed out because he's a skill player that doesn't score often enough, and he doesn't have the right build for a bottom six role either. So he gets waived out, and that cap hit is pretty big. So nobody picks him up on waivers. We'll see what happens there, but I think it's funny that the Canucks think they need to announce that he's available. Yeah, it's Higgins all over again. Vegas, Eric Halla out with a lower body injury. Paul Stastny out with a lower body injury. And just think of how good Vegas could be if they get those guys back. And if Stastny can really hit his groove with Vegas. He showed in Winnipeg last year when he's on and he's motivated and he's happy just how good he can be. For Washington, of course, Tom Wilson, upper body injury, which has now been revealed as a concussion. This morning, after I wrote this up, I did see an article that stated that, yes, concussion is actually the word they're using. TJ Oshie, concussion, Brooks Orpik, knee. And Sergei Shumakov is on waivers. So, last summer, when Washington signed Shumakov, I gave my blunt assessment, which was I've never really heard much about the kid at all. And I don't think he's going to make the Capitals. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. And there are people who said, no, you're wrong. This kid is going to be great. And he'll have... And the thing is, it's a numbers game with Washington, right? They're the defending Stanley Cup champions. So the idea that they're going to make a roster spot for this kid coming over, no. And in the American League, his numbers have been iffy. It's sort of like how people talk about Petrus Palmu for Vancouver. And I get the excitement because I saw the skills... The kids game at the start of July, where you got all the prospects up against each other for Vancouver, but Palmu only has 1 assist for Utica this year. In I think it's 11 games. I think he has 1 assist, something like that. So when these guys come over from the KHL, you just don't know. And Shumakov's on waivers. I assume he'll go back to the KHL after the unconditional waivers are done, and they can terminate his contract. Winnipeg, to close things out. Joe Morrow, lower body injury. Dustin Byfuglien out with a concussion. Of course, he's skating. Morrow's skating. Or no, Kulikov and Byfuglien are both skating now. Kulikov's out with an upper body injury. And yesterday, Seattle, the still unnamed team, they broke ground on the new arena. And you know what's interesting? They talked to the owner Leiweke about this. And they asked him about what the team's name was going to be. And he said, if fans have any ideas, let us know. So the 13 names I gave you yesterday, maybe a fan movement will move us to some other idea. Not Seattle McSeattle faces. That's just not, it's not going to fly. Although Yvonne's very stuck on their mascot being Pucky McHockey face is where she's stuck on for the mascot. And I think she's got something to say there. You can just take an old Peter Puck costume and just put like a beard on it. I don't know. Just Pucky McHockey face. So there you go. Tried to get as many of these as I could. I apologize for ones that are missed because that does tend to happen. Because these change all the time. And not only that, but teams don't tell the 100% truth about what the injury is, how long a guy's going to be out, etc., etc. So let me know who you think is most affected by injuries right now. As I said, I do think it's Nashville, but considering all of these guys who are on the list right now for St. Louis, they would be second for me, Boston third, and Dallas fourth. But I'd be interested to know your thoughts, as always, in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're just browsing through and happened upon this video, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.